All right, well, good afternoon and welcome to our final news conference of the day featuring 12th seeded Vanderbilt. The Commodores are coming off a 72-68 win over Columbia last night in the first four game. A couple of announcements before we get started here. The Vanderbilt locker room is open as of now. It will remain open until 4:15. At 4:05, Coach Shea Ralph will join us up here on the dais. General announcements as a reminder to all of your fellow menu members, as well as the coaches and student athletes, please silence your cell phones at this time. And when you ask a question, provide your name and media affiliation. For those asking questions on Zoom, use the raise hand function. We will recognize you and bring you into the news conference. And as always, recording press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited in the media area. We are joined once again by Vanderbilt student athletes Jordan Cambridge, Sasha Washington, and Ayanna Moore. The floor is now open to questions for the student athletes. And we'll start here with Elena.
Elena Moore is FandySports.com. Sasha, congratulations on reaching 1,000 career points last night. Can you talk about what that milestone means to you?
It's really great, but I told someone yesterday it's just a small victory because I'm just really focused on the tournament and things we have planned for us ahead.
Front row.
Yeah, Ayanna, first of all, how good was it for you guys to kind of get your first win in March Madness to build confidence ahead of that matchup with Baylor?
I mean, I think it was really great for us to play yesterday, kind of get familiar with the court, get our win back. We haven't played in a while. Get familiar with the gym, get to know each other a little bit better, playing on a big stage like this. Of course, we had nerves, so we got them out the way.
Yeah, and then how important has it been for you and for Jordan, too, just your perimeter defense and being able to lock down opposing guards defensively?
I mean, I think we really feed off of Jordan, Naismith player right there on the little list. So we just pick off of her. If she's playing really good defense, we all play really good defense. If she's intentional with everything she's doing, getting steals and in people's grill, we feed off of that. So just continue to feed off of our vet over there.
Damien in the back row.
This is for Jordan or Sasha. Damien Sorlet with the Roanoke Times. Winning the rebounding battle last night, and especially on the offensive glass, when you look at those second chances against a taller team like Baylor, how crucial is that against a team that is taller than you, a similar type team that you faced in SEC play?
Jordan, then Sasha.
I think it just goes to our physicality and how willing we are to be physical with them and put bodies on them and box them out. Obviously, we watched a little bit of film from yesterday's game, and we're going to clean some stuff up, and we know that they are a little bit bigger than we played yesterday, but we know we play in the SEC, so we know how physical it can get, so it's not going to be anything that we're not used to. So we're just going to have to go in and be physical tomorrow.
Yeah, just knowing that rebounding is something that you have to want to do, and just getting early position, boxing out, make sure we get them out of the lane and make sure our team comes up with the rebound as many times as we can.
Sasha, when you look at their post players, what stands out to you about what they can do inside, especially with the depth that they play with?
I think they have some great post players, but I also think that we are doing a good job preparing for that, just knowing their personnel. And I know that we've done a good job just around like post skill work, stuff like that. So I think we'll be pretty prepared for what they have for us.
Additional questions for the student athletes? Kelly in the back row.
For really all of you guys, but Baylor has a few transfers that have played in the SEC with Dreana and Asia. Does that help you guys at all, especially maybe you, Sasha, kind of banging inside with some of those players, just having seen them before?
How about Sasha, then Ayanna?
I mean, yeah, just being familiar that they came from our league, but knowing that, we just need to be prepared at the end of the day for anything that's thrown out at us.
I mean, yeah, to piggyback off what Sasha said, it's good to know familiar faces, but just focusing on what we control, knowing our personnel, knowing scout, is just the biggest thing that we can focus on going into tomorrow's game.
Yeah, I mean, they really hit it on the head. Obviously, we've played against them, but just like any player, I'm sure they've gotten a lot better. They've probably changed their game a lot, just like we have in our time here. So it's really just kind of, like Giannis said, focusing on what we do, what we bring, and staying true to who Vanderbilt is, and I think we'll be okay.
Additional questions for the Vanderbilt student athletes? They've been busy. They've been up here often, and they've said quite a bit. Thank you so much for your time. You all are dismissed. Once again, the Vanderbilt locker room is open, and it will remain open until 4:15. Coach Shea Ralph will be up here in 15 minutes at 4:05, perhaps earlier. I'd bet on that. But the locker room will be open until 4:15. Ahead of schedule, Coach Shea Ralph will join us in 5 minutes. So roughly 3:55, Coach Shea Ralph will join us again. The locker room is open until 4:15. welcome back. Long time no see.
I know. It's a few hours ago, huh? Hi, everybody.
A little bit bigger crowd for you this afternoon. All right, we are joined on the dais by Vanderbilt head coach Shea Ralph, and we are opening the floor to questions for Coach Ralph. We'll start with Elena.
Hey, Coach, do you think that playing yesterday probably helped get some of the nerves out or get used to it? Do you see that as an advantage? You already have a game under your belt before tomorrow?
I do. I do think for our team, I think it's an advantage. I think, the quick turnaround from Selection Sunday to just having to lock right in and play was good for us. And if we didn't play, I would tell you that's good for us too. I think it's the way I spent it for our players. But I do think, having this being our first NCAA game with this team, with this program since I've been here, there were some nerves, and I think they understand that while we treat it like we treat every game, it's still special. It's the NCAA tournament and it's March. So I'm glad we were able to get out on the court yesterday and compete. It felt good. I know they're feeling great today, so we're excited to keep playing.
Shea, obviously you're no stranger to March Madness, but this being most of your players' first time, is there anything that you've done with them or that they've done to kind of take this all in? Yeah,
I think the thing that I'm encouraging them to do is to enjoy the time together. I mean, this team is only going to be this team for, hopefully as long as we can for the next couple of weeks, but not for much longer. And there's a lot of downtime. We have a lot of time to rest and recover. Our game yesterday was really late. And one of the things I learned being to so many tournaments is what to do with that downtime. Sometimes they need it to spend just on their own resting. We have a table of games in our team room where they can come down and play games. We took a little walk around our hotel yesterday, utilized the pool. I think there's things that we can do together that don't feel forced, but that also teach them how to enjoy being together. And it doesn't always have to be we're preparing. It's just enjoying being together as a group because this group will only be together for so much longer. And that, I think, also encourages them to stay in the moment. And that's really important, too. You don't want to look too far behind. You don't want to look too far ahead. You just want to stay in the moment. And that's what's so special about being with this group right now, here at the NCAA tournament.
I see Damien over there. Can I ask what the game of choice is for the team right now?
It depends on who you ask.
Okay.
A lot of them have, there's a lot of games on their phone that they'll put on the TV. I've heard, I don't know if you guys have heard of Overcooked. I've seen that one. Yeah. I don't understand it at all, but they like that one. But there's like some classics. We played Twister the other day. Uno's down there. Bop It. Bop It's really fun if you guys have ever played Bop It. We tried to bring in some, like the old people tried to bring in some vintage games as well.
Damien.
Hey, Coach, Damien Sordelet with the Roanoke Times. During your time at UConn, you're probably familiar with Baylor, and they were known for rebounding during that time. Do you see any similarities to this Baylor team now in Collins' third season where they're starting to get back to being a dominant rebounding team, and how does that affect the way you're preparing for tomorrow's game?
I definitely see that they are trending towards being a dominant rebounding team, but honestly, that's, we've talked about this the last couple of days. That affects our preparation not one bit because we face a dominant rebounding team in the SEC just about every game. And we have a somewhat, we're not as big as some of the other teams. We don't have as much size. So luckily, I think we're really prepared. I wasn't happy with how we performed on the boards yesterday, though. I will say that. I think we have to be a little bit more disciplined of going and meeting people where they are, boxing them out, getting a body on people, and then rebounding out of our area. It's going to be really important tomorrow because that is something that Baylor does really well.
Back to the front row, then Kelly. Sorry.
Yeah, Shea, obviously there's a lot of SEC teams here, and historically the SEC's done very well in March Madness. And, Ole Miss women's coach has talked a lot about how she's rooting for other SEC teams in March Madness as well. Is that something that you're doing too, where you're paying attention to the other SEC teams that are here and looking at the success of the league?
Absolutely. I think the thing I remember last year, there was a chat thread that started with the head coaches, and it was really neat to see that level of support, because there is a high level of competition during the season as well. But I thought it was really cool that the head coaches did that and came together. And I'm excited to be part, of that representation this year. I've gotten text messages from every coach. There's been messages in the thread. Coach Yo has put stuff out on social media. And I've had the opportunity to do the same for them. I think it means a lot, especially for me as a first-time head coach. But to feel that support, even knowing how competitive we are, I think it shows a lot, tells you a lot about where the SEC is and where we want to go, the support that we show for each other.
Hey, Coach. Kelly Gramlich with ESPN. Ayanna Moore was amazing last night. That dagger she hit was huge. I think the story with this team is so unique with Moore and Cambridge and what they dealt with last year with their injuries. Can you shed a little more light on maybe how they rehabbed? Did they lean on each other a lot during that process with the rehab, having those injuries and then coming back? And I commented with Moore, like it's very rare you see a player come back and look better than she was pre-injury. So can you just talk more about that?
Certainly. I think there's been a couple of things that we've done in-house and like videos showing how their injuries were very close together, like within a couple weeks of each other. Their surgeries were different, but again, the process was kind of similar because they were on that timeline together. And they probably needed each other for different reasons. Jordan having gone through it before and thinking that last year was going to be her last year of basketball, and then Ayanna having never gone through it. And I think they provided a level of support that they each really needed in the moments that they needed them. And that's not something you can really fabricate for a kid going through rehab. I mean, I rehabbed 5 ACLs, but they don't know that. They weren't even alive when I had my last injury, So like it's so different now. And when you have a partner to go through that with, some days Jordan has a bad day and Ayanna's able to lift her up, and vice versa other days, that you develop a deep bond. And you can see that they pushed each other when they needed to be pushed. And there's not sometimes a way for a coach or a trainer to do that. Sometimes it has to be a teammate. And I'm so happy for them because they're both enjoying things that they've never had before. This being Jordan's first and last NCAA tournament because it's her last year of basketball. And Ayanna's becoming the player that I think she's always dreamed that she would become. And probably a lot quicker after her injury, because I think there were definitely moments I've had them myself when I injured my knee that you're not even sure if you're going to be able to play again. So being in this moment now for them and watching them enjoy it and have so much success is, for me, I mean, this is why we do what we do. It's hard and there's lots of challenging moments, but watching my team now realize some of their dreams, both individually and as a group, makes this one of the most rewarding years I've ever had as a coach.
Well, and just to clarify, you tore your ACL 5 times?
I did.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I did. I did. I know. That tells you how stubborn I am, huh? Yeah. I was determined to play.
Let's go Jay and then back to the front.
Yeah, I would have been done after one, Coach.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I told Ayanna Moore I wasn't an All-American until after my second one. So there you go.
That's incredible. You just talked about enjoying the moment. I'm curious, is it different for the players versus the head coach? Like, how quickly do you have to turn the page to Baylor? Probably when you're done with the handshake line, whereas you do want the players to enjoy a win in the NCAA tournament, or do you want them turning the page just as quickly?
I want them to turn the page, but not too quickly. Last night was about enjoying the win and celebrating for them. And for us as well, but we had already, like you said, as coaches, we had already turned the page. And one of the things that I understand about my position is it's not about me. So it's not. And I had my time as a player. It's about the enjoyment of my team, their improvement. I've been to, this is my 20th NCAA tournament, and I've won championships, and I've been to Final Fours. So me getting to another one or winning another one doesn't do for me what it will do for the players that will win their first or that are going to their first. That's something you never forget for the rest of your life. And I want to be part of that journey with them. So, I continuously remind myself, because I am pretty intense. I can get, that's just a competitor in me. I remind myself that I have to show up the way that I want them to show up, because my energy seeps into my team. So I am remembering myself to enjoy the moment, but it's also not about me. So I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure that I set them up for the success that they've earned and that they deserve.
Yeah, Shay, I know you hate when I ask about this, but on the topic of injuries, you guys have stayed relatively healthy throughout SEC play this year and throughout the tournament. So is there anything that you have done differently or that you've done that you think has led to that better success in staying healthy this season?
I wish I could tell you that there was an answer that I could say, this is what we did and take ownership of that. I think a lot of it is luck. And I'm not saying all of it is. I think we did take a really serious look, like, what are we doing? Where can we make improvements? I have a top-notch staff. I mean, we're at Vanderbilt in the SEC. Candace has infused our program with high-level resources in terms of people and skill levels at what they do. So we were able to fine-tune a few things, but I'm not certain that there was a reason that we had as many injuries as we had. But it did give us the opportunity to reflect and look at what is our process, how can we change some things up. And I think even some of those small tweaks have been able to help our players feel strong for longer periods of time. I don't know if it helped with injuries, but I know that they're feeling good right now, which is really important in March, because you can feel worn down, you can feel fatigued mentally, physically, emotionally. Some of that's up to me. Most of it's up to how are we resting and recovering, what kind of fuel are we giving them. And I think that the injuries gave us an opportunity to look at that. Fingers crossed, it's not over yet, but this was a good year and we'll continue hopefully on that path in the next few years as well.
Additional questions for Coach? You have some mayhem going on in the back of the room too.
There's a baby back there.
There's a baby back there.
There's Lou's little baby girl back there. Hi, Lily.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, you guys.
Thanks
Thanks
so much for your
much.
time.
Good to see everyone.
That concludes our final news conference of the day. Just a quick reminder, the Vanderbilt locker room will be open for another 7 minutes if you would like to get in there and ask some player questions. We will be back here tomorrow for both games, Virginia Tech and Marshall, and then Baylor and Vanderbilt. Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you for joining us today from Blacksburg.